Well, hello everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful Thursday afternoon, evening, or Friday morning, depending on which time zones you may or may not be in. Whatever it is. Hope it's a great one. And hope we're able to enjoy a great race this evening of the Final Fantasy Randomizer League. I am Trenton. I'm joined by Edgeworth. How you doing tonight, Edge?
Doing all right. This is the first of this particular round that I get to commentate, and well, given the community's split feelings over black belt grinding, this is an interesting round. You're stuck doing it, so hopefully you're pretty good at it by now.
Yeah, it's been quite the experience to see the differences in when you're running multiple races under the same flags versus the tournament style where it's win or elimination. And I think that causes people to change their strategies around a lot from one race to another versus what they would do in the tournament format. And I still think we're seeing the strategy evolve as we go along with this.
Oh, I certainly think you're right. You're more willing to try less safe strategies when you know that you just have to get one win.
So a red mage is all you get for magic. Heal 2's at level 1, that's not bad. Quad X and Bane. Not ideal, but not horrible.
Quad X, Bane, and Brack, so we'll see if anybody loads up on... they're going to try to... what's more valuable, Brack or Cure 2?
I think Heal 2 is going to be my only white magic spell from this seed. I'll take the AoE, figuring Volcano is where I'm most going to want it anyways.
I think Heal 2 was in second slot, though, so it wasn't available.
That can certainly change things. Cabin's on the cheap, so you'll be able to do some saving on the overworld.
Yeah, and that seems like a good enough reason to pop up the Temple of Fiends first.
Salty's actually going to use it to look at the Provoker run first. Wow, we got a run at the start of this table. No trouble getting to Temple of Fiends, but Salty really showed it off on the run to Provoca, getting over halfway there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Minoshi didn't power cycle. It looks like Crystal didn't either, or maybe that was the second in the chain there. But
what a first that chest is. Yeah, best defensive item your black belt's going to get, sans a ribbon, but best absorb defense you're going to get.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Minochi can't wait to sell it.
It looks like Salty took a wipe. I guess Salty didn't buy any of the cabins. And a silver bracelet for free also in Temple of Fiends. That is, it's not any jump up and down exciting item, but those are good items to get in this first area. First 3 treasure chests, something like that. Going for the Quad X strats against Garland.
Oh, and he almost always has less than 300, so that's the right move.
Also gives you a level. Without the flat bonus on, you don't necessarily see big experience from the packs of creatures like we did in the tournament. You want something that's good base experience to begin with, and any of those bosses are usually pretty good experience. Pirates of Squint, by the way.
Okay, so that's instant death spell versus instant death spell. That's going to be real interesting.
Did we see the magic here? Bane should do the job, but I'd be curious if there was a sure spell, like even a lit 2 here would be great. But Bane should do the job.
And Salty moving his red mage into the front for some reason, and it works.
Reverse psychology. They keep attacking the back, I'll put him in the front and see how that goes.
Well, I guess it worked this time.
Statistically, it's not supposed to work, but reality... That's going to make Salty the first one to get the ship, and Getting a look at Matoya's no TNT, so it's either Marsh Cave or Dwarfs at this point.
Nice amount of money in Matoya's Cave, though, and Minochi's going to be happy to have that when he goes shopping in Provoca.
Ice 3 and Warp at level 2. That's pretty nice. Nothing in white magic we can't live without, so would rather not have Warp on the same level, but hey, those are two pretty good spells. One makes Volcano better, one makes Ice Cave better. I don't want to say easier, just better.
There were a lot of interesting options for the third spell to pick up. Saber was in the black magic shop. Fog 2 was in the white magic shop. Soft was in the white magic shop. So a lot of different options, but in the end, Tristal decides to just save his money.
I like that call personally. Soft would probably be the most compelling argument to me. Just because I'm thinking Saber is just not going to come into play. The only time I would be using it would be potentially against Chaos. And even then, I need those Ice 3s to be prepared for water encounters. So I don't want to worry about losing those spell charges.
It looks like Minochi picked up A-Rub. Also a good option, protects against death and earth. And I think one other element, perhaps status, but you're still going to get wrecked by Bane if that shows up. Good defense.
That's a case where situationally useful, so it can definitely pay off. Pro Rings for sale here, by the way.
Oh, how appropriate for the Pirates with Squint.
Nobody else thought to check the armor shop before that.
Just noticed that Minochi did a quick reset after Squint landed on the red mage, but didn't wait to see if it was actually effective or not.
Don't bother him with details. He's got races to run. I'll also be curious to see if anybody ends up leaving people down from the Squint, like Broadster, if he wants to do the two-man strats. There's one black belt in the red mage. That's exactly what you'd want for two-man.
And I think early on you almost have to. The other black belts just don't contribute very much other than soaking damage. And maybe you bring them up for the Marsh Cave and just let them die on the way out, but you're not intending to get them any levels whatsoever.
Really cheap on the tents today. Heals aren't bad. Pure's a little more pricey, but still not bad. So far, we haven't seen much of note. Is Minochi going to go Peninsula Power with Ice 3? Question mark, question mark?
He might be more inclined to try Quadex and Bane, maybe on giant formations. Oh, gold bracelets in Provoca as well.
Bane will definitely work on the giants, but the rate isn't quite what you'd want for grind purposes. I don't know the exact rate, but I think it's something like 1 in 4. Which, I mean, against a boss, that's great. Against a non-boss, it's not so good. I mean, I will say anything that makes Marsh Cave better sounds good, but here you go. It's the pack of Frost Wolves. This is exactly what you'd want for a lot of experience in theory.
Except when they go first, and I think you have to reset out of that immediately. It's just not worth the time to sit through it, even if you do manage to kill them.
And unless they're really low HP, how is Ice 3 going to do enough damage?
Well, quite often they're very low HP. It doesn't look like that's the case this time around. but I've had Frost Wolves die to absolute min-roll Fire 2s before.
Tristal has found the tail in Dwarf Cave and the TNT. This is Lazy Dwarfs.
Well, I mean, they didn't want to go unpack the TNT from... they'd have to pick up that disgusting tail first.
So, I like this a little better what Broadster is doing, and he's getting Ogre encounters, which with Ice 3 is going to go quite well, and you're still near the end. It's not worth as much experience per fight, but he's going to be able to get through fights a lot faster than Minochi.
Minochi hit the hero combination, though. Turns out that the giants all died to just 2 casts of Ice 3.
Life 2 at level 4, but not learnable pre-class change. Lit 2 at level 4.
So it's nice to find the tail up front, and ooh, he finds... Oh, don't do it, Mono. No!
Tyro fights back.
Yeah, he does. Not today, buddy.
Wow, if Tristal did this from a reset, Peds already.
Yeah, if this is off the off power cycle, then this is definitely better than any pop grind. Although Minochi is very fortunate that these giants don't have much in the HP department.
Okay, he didn't reset there, so I don't think the initial fight was off of power cycle. Trolls with Cremate, trying to live up to their name. The other thing I will say is we know it's a really long walk before that first encounter, which would be less than ideal for trying to grind for experience here. But you can check the rest of this encounter table and see how fast it would come up. If you're going to get Peds, for example, 3 or 4 times in the encounter table, then that makes it a little more bearable. Or a similar investment of time, if you will.
Yeah, and Minochi has gotten it done, so he'll be able to afford any magic on the way to Crescent Lake now, with both of his characters sitting at level 10.
Rodster's going to be next to pick up the tail and TNT. Houses for sale. This is a good place for houses to be for sale, but not enough money yet for Tristal.
So given the relative weakness of the spell pool so far, it's pretty good that all of the runners found the tail, and I don't think anyone is going to skip class change.
The question is, how long will you wait for it? Because you'll definitely want to get the bulk of your levels before doing class change, lest you miss out on all that sweet, sweet magic defense.
So with a lot of Ice 3 charges available to anyone that does either P grind or what Tristal is doing right now, or what Mono did and did a pop grind, Volcano is a pretty safe bet. So you can very likely finish your grind in Volcano, given that there are 4 enemies that are potential grind spots in there.
I have been giving a lot of thought to how I would want to do any kind of grind in this seed, or in these flags. I'm still not sure I've got any compelling argument one way or another, but I think I want to do something in the 30s with 1 black belt and the red mage in Volcano, and then restore at least 1 more black belt and have him getting into mid-20s by Temple of Fiends. Minochi now gets the tail in TNT.
So I think the best way of doing that is do your 2-person grind, or 2-person party strat through Volcano. Finish your grind in either Volcano or Ice, depending on whether or not the enemies in Volcano are friendly or not. then once you're done with your grind, you can continue on to either Sea or Sky and pick up a third-party member and just pick up experience along the way.
We've got Show in the chat who, of course, just put up a good effort last night. Apparently, he favors the idea of either having a 42 black belt or two 32s, and I think you can make compelling arguments for both of those.
The benefit of the single 42 black belt is that you have more armor than two 32 black belts, and given the fact that the healing magic has been really less than desirable this seed, if you have a 32 black belt in the front row that's getting punched by all the monsters in Temple of Fiends, he's going to take a ton of damage, and you're going to go through your heal potions really quickly.
That said, with how tough we've seen a couple of these Temple of Fiends be, there's several people who, if you think... Well, let me kind of try and form a coherent thought here. That'd be an idea. If I were going against these racers and personally knowing I would be up against a bunch of people who I don't even think I know they're better than me, I would go further with the grind, and I just always like the idea of giving myself a chance. So 42 for 1 is pretty good, and I would, if there's any way I can figure out to reasonably do it, I would get the other black belt to 32. And that might look like getting 42 for 1 in Volcano and then seeing if I can do like a solo grind against the Eye to get the other one up to 25 or something, and he'll get 32 the rest of the way. Crazy as that sounds, but the harder things are, the more that would give you a chance.
So I think if that was your plan, what you might be better off doing is kind of including the one of the black belts in on the initial grind, so it can pick up some experience. So basically two level 21s punching Agamas or Eyes repeatedly, and then one of them just happens to die, and the other one goes to I wouldn't say to 42, but maybe to 37, 38. And then
yeah, those mid-upper 30s to give them a solid chance for the end game.
Yeah, it's not only that, but it's to make if you're doing the grind in Volcano, it's to make the carry fight safer. If you're doing the grind in Ice, it's to maximize the chance that the wizard group on the top floor runs away from you due to the morale hit.
So we have got route divergence going on. I always love to see that. Minochi has decided to gamble on the Marsh Cave. Not a play I really like to make without the key, but hey, that's why it might work for you, is if there's something here, he's going to get to it long before anybody else. Tristal's gone to Ordeal.
And this is something traditional that Tristal likes to do in his strategy, finding out that the zombies are not to be trifled with. But if you can make it to the zombie dragon fight and they're grindable, they're almost as good, if not better, than Agamos, depending on the situation.
So I looked over at my other screen at just the right time. We have a floater location. Would you like to guess?
Floater Marsh?
Earth 1.
This is happening quite a lot.
And Artea's not even here. Or not in this one. I don't know if Artea's not here. But not in the race. So it was Lynn the Cat who picked up the floater. And I don't know when or if we're going to see anybody else go there.
So, very good job by Len. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Minochi end up there. I mean, if he's gambling Marsh, then a early floater pickup is probably something that'll do.
A black shirt is a pretty nice find in Ordeal. It's not what Tristal came here for, but...
And Tristal just barrels into the zombie dragon fight without actually checking the Uh-oh. This could be bad.
Too many hit points for Quad X, and Black Belt's not high enough level to punch this for much yet.
Well, you should be able to at least make it out of this fight. The zombie dragon doesn't seem to be doing terribly much damage to the black belt in front.
Yeah, I do think that was part of his equation for coming here, though, was hoping for soft zombie dragons that he was going to be able to get a lot of levels from.
And is rewarded with a house.
Almost surprised he walked it out, but he was probably saved right outside the castle. One of the strategies you'll see people try on occasion is leave a save all the way back in Elfland. And as long as you're able to do it without soft lock, which with Warp you ought to be able to do it without soft lock, then you can reset if you get nothing and save the entire trip back.
So I think Tristal, even if it wasn't garbage, would have, even if he didn't find anything valuable like that black shirt, would have walked it out anyway, just because of the experience that he got from the zombie dragon fight. It didn't get him a level, but it got him very, very close to one.
Note you found the mage staff here in the marsh cave, by the way, so an item that's useful for going to Earth, and maybe that'll tip the balance in going that direction next. Between the mage staff and having lit 3 for wizards, it starts to make a compelling argument for at least an early check. We hadn't really talked about this, but kind of the old meta, when you saw people take Earth Cave plays, they liked to do it when that first walk was going to be good enough you could walk from the entrance to one of the treasure chests, hopefully with no fights, but maybe just one. People have gotten a little more aggressive in checking it without that walk, but when you add that variable as well, this is a seed where it makes a lot of sense to do that.
Well, the second walk-off power cycle isn't so bad, so that's certainly something to put into the equation. I think it's still not a great play if the front of the encounter table is bad, but if you can just reset a couple of encounters and then go in and check your chest, that doesn't take appreciably more time than if the very first encounter was free.
So right now I see 2 runners have the airship. They are Quicklit and Len the Cat. I have not seen anybody with another progression item as of yet.
So it looks like Tristal's going to Ice Cave, and it is to be determined where Minochi goes after this.
Stinger not the nicest AoE, but at least it's not going to kill you in one shot. Broadster looks to be the only person who's actually in Volcano right now, which is interesting.
He's joined by Tristal.
I thought you said Tristal was going to Ice Cave.
I thought he was too, but I guess he was going a different branch of the river.
Well, with Warp, it makes Ice Cave a little more inviting, but still, levels are low, and you don't really have any spells for killing stuff other than the wizards, so I can understand going Volcano first.
Question in chat, was anything in Marsh? The big pickup in Marsh was an Aegis Shield for money and a Mage Staff for utility.
Where in the world will Minochi go? After Melmon, that is. I know some people will skip it, especially if they're low on money, but I like to know what spells are here, because, like, hey, you might find out that Nuke is here, and make it a point to revisit Melmon later. No exit, but you can get Invis too.
Invis 2 is certainly worth picking up, especially given that you saw Fog 2 in a already crowded level 3 or level 2 magic slot.
A pretty crowded level 5 too when you've got Nuke and Invis too. That's a lot of casts you want from those spells.
Minoshi picking up a silver sword, and I like the move. That will allow him to help out a little bit during a grind if the Agamas are weak but have a lot of HP.
Trying to keep an eye over here on what Len is doing. He's working his way through the islands right now, trying to see if any other treasures await there. A couple of our runners have found these peds very handy for picking up experience from. And how far do you go with these peds?
I think you take every single bead fight on the way through. The experience is just too good.
Let me rephrase that. If you're farming for experience outside Crescent Lake, how far do you go with these peds? I mean, certainly as long as they're going to give you 2 levels, that's hard to turn down.
Well, I say you fight them all the way to Crescent Lake.
This can give you a lot of spell charges before you get there.
That's really the justification for it, because with more spell charges, that means you can take more fights in Volcano. It speeds up your leveling in Volcano. It speeds up your grind. Once you choose, Agama, Grey Worm, Fires, Red Dragon.
Looks like the fires have over 110 HP, but under 220.
So they're a potential backup option, but certainly not the primary one. Although with Opal Bracelet being early, they are a lot easier to fight than they normally would be.
Looks like Crystal is thinking, hey, they'll die to an Ice 3.
Yeah, and if you're planning on warping out, there's no reason why you shouldn't just unload the rest of the charges to get a few more levels. It's very convenient.
Maybe that was the thinking, because I couldn't imagine that would be your first choice to fight the fires. You could still get random encounters there, versus if you take them at that first chest, it'll be the only encounter you get.
Yeah, that's been a strategy that I've seen a lot of the runners take. Looks like Temper is level 6 in the Black Magic Shop.
Not a bad level for it to be at. There's not a lot of spells left out there that we'd still want. I mean, Cure 4, Life 1. And that's still low enough you're going to have multiple casts available for a boss fight.
So have any of the early floater runners gone back to purchase magic? I'm curious if either Nuke or Life 2 are learnable by Red Wizard.
I'm pretty sure we saw... Well, nobody's class changed yet, but I'm pretty sure we saw both of those attempted by Red Mage and not be learnable. Looks like Quicklet has gone to Volcano with his airship, so Len is still exploring things, and now he's gone to the volcano. So Volcano first is the popular opinion today.
Fraudster finds Masmium. So that is basically a free grind in a can there.
Gotta have the right target. It'll do fine against the fires from what we've seen. The Agamas would still be more compelling. You're going to get in fights faster and they're worth more XP. Just hopefully you don't have some crazy attack to worry about.
The scariest thing that you're worried about is any of the abilities that you don't have resistances for yet. The Pro Ring, the early Pro Ring, is nice to have, but it still means you can get wiped out by something with Crack, something with Bane, something with Zap. Post grind, that's less likely because of the Black Belt's magic resistance, but still on the way down, it's fairly scary, and you're always worried about Death Touch and Stone Touch as well.
If you get in here with the Agamas and you see they have Thunder, that's just not going to be a good day. Looks like Minochi is going to give us a look at Ice Cave finally. He nopes out of the Wizards.
Thunder might not actually be so bad, depending on how often the Agama casts it and how many potions you have. Because after a while, your Black Belt's just going to start resisting it outright because of the magic resist.
Yeah, once you're up mid-20s, that's definitely not going to be that much of an issue, but in terms of starting a grind, if you run into that, it's going to be a no-go. It's just going to take too much. But you could go get the fires for basic levels, then come up to the Agamas when you've got more magic defense. So your ability to think on your feet can really make a difference.
Yeah, there was one run where I successfully, I didn't win it, but I managed to get in second place because I realized that an enemy with Nuke was actually halfway decent for a grind.
Where did Salty go? I look back, he's walking up by the docks, by the ice cave. Was he walking off an encounter? Or?
I think he was just going camping. I mean, it's pretty nice and picturesque up there.
I mean, if there was a nasty encounter like the second one and you wanted to walk off to try and avoid it, I guess that makes sense. But not something you see every day.
And
NPC Shuffle will see people go that way more often, but...
And, well, we have Tristal with the level 21 Black Belt, and it looks like the Agamas are pretty agreeable this seed, so probably just going to rip through this no problem. The question is, where do you stop?
Well, especially if that red mage doesn't have levels, further sounds better to me. Because the risk of losing here to carry pulling something out that's really unpleasant, I just can't afford it. So the difference between 32 and 40 is like a minute or two, which is a lot less than the lost time if you take a wipe somewhere.
And looks like Minoshi's going to check out Ice Cave, and if this doesn't pay out, it will at least benefit him in that this Eye is a faster grind than the Agama. It's like Salty got stun locked, but he's out of it right now.
And worth noting that Tristal is keeping that Masamune on the Black Belt. It's kind of easy to forget, even after 21, that he's going to do more damage with the Masamune on than without it for quite a ways.
The other benefit is with the Masmune equipped, he doesn't have to go back into the armor screen to get the benefit of the armor that's equipped on him. The armor bug only activates if you are not holding a weapon.
In which case, you may as well just leave it on even when you're going to out-damage, because it'll save you the time unmenuing and it won't make any difference. You're still going to one-shot the Agamas.
Yeah, the other benefit as well, and Tristal has brought this up before, is it saves you a little bit of time on each fight because you have less of a critical hit chance. And every time you kill the Agama without a critical hit, that menu is faster, or that dialogue box is faster.
You min-maxers with your tenths of seconds here and there. Hey, wraiths have poison, by the way, so this ice cave is really unfriendly to Salty Fry.
And it looks like Minochi did not run into that yet, but Salty has definitely gotten the worst of it. So just whatever Minochi's decision was going into the ice cave, whether that be power cycle or resets, is paying off for him right now.
And it is a runnable encounter, so may just be Minochi was able to get away from it.
I think Minochi actually fought that encounter, used Mage Staff and Lit 3.
Well, there's that too. So Quicklet is doing an Agama grind. Fuchsia might be doing one as well. Everybody else just in various places right now.
And if the slab and the crown are post-floater, this really benefits Len and Quicklet a lot.
A ribbon for Minochi, that's a welcome sight.
That makes this grind very, very safe if he wants to go after the eye here.
The other thing that I usually like to do before I get into an Agama grind is check the red dragon, so that I'm getting that chest at a lower risk, theoretically. Plus, I find out if that fight is actually easier than Agama's.
I 100% agree with you, and I think every runner should have done that. You don't have a ribbon, and you have a mage with the ability to cast warp. It's really the correct play.
Fuchsia actually just went there. He one-shot it with Ice 3, but I couldn't see how much damage that was, but makes it seem not that high.
These wizards keep healing off the damage Minochi is putting on with Gear 3.
Salty ran into the damage poison again. Wonder if Minochi also had a higher level when he came in here because he had done the Marsh Cave.
Oh, it was the combination of the Marsh Cave and the Pop Grind. He was definitely in good shape for this.
This is interesting, and I'm curious to see if Minochi is leaving with the ribbon or he's just stepping outside to save it. Because we've seen the warp trick to avoid the eye fight. You can actually reverse the play, step in one of those tiles before the eye, and get to it faster. So he may use a house and then go right back there.
I think that would be the correct play if oh, this mage gets stunned. That's going to be pretty rough. And it looks like Minochi gained a level as well, so he's not getting the armor benefit from the Opal Bracelet anymore. I think that's the correct play if you find a progression item. The ribbon, it's good, but I don't know if it's good enough to actually sacrifice all that time.
I think for Minochi, he's actually out of Lit 3 charges, so he's got to try and do this with Ice 3, And now his plans are definitely wrecked because with his black belt down and no access to life spells, he's gonna have to leave if he gets out of this fight. Which should be a lot safer now.
Well, we haven't seen what the third spell is, and we won't. One step away from the staircase.
Just had to be the pack of them. They just had to stun him. I gotta figure that would take me away from a grind if I was even considering that before.
Well,
the time investment to sail all the way back here with the canoe.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to come back and do a grind here. You may do it somewhere else, though. And this may just be Agamas for Minochi as well.
Yeah, if I wasn't clear on that, I just mean that if the original idea was go in and fight the eye, then that's what's off the table for me now.
The only way that comes back on the table is if Minochi goes to Earth right now and finds Floater.
Which is possible, but he's still better go to Crescent Lake first, because you're not resurrecting anybody at Meltmund.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So just given the proximity, he's probably going to go to Volcano.
Why did he park the ship there? Silly Minochi.
All of the dock tiles are free, so he doesn't get any encounters. He doesn't advance the threat counter like he would if he sailed further into the dock.
Okay, but he's got save items. Looks like Volcano it will be for Minochi. Then the question is going to be what happens with Salty. We now know there's a ribbon here. We haven't seen the eye encountered yet. And if he's able to get a level grind here that Minochi didn't...
That would be a good recovery mechanism for Salty. We'll see if he has better luck on the upstairs than Minochi did. Although it seemed like both of them had pretty miserable luck overall.
Yeah, those poisons did a number on Salty's efforts. I think this is his third or fourth dive into this cave.
It looks like Tristel's going to do sort of exactly what I recommended. How far did Tristel go?
I know he was in the 30s. I think if he's not at 40, he's high 30. Was it 37?
Yeah, it looked like 37. So 37, taking fights the rest of the way is probably going to get the other black belt to 21, and 21 plus Mazmune is pretty solid.
Now Salty finds the ribbon. He didn't equip it yet, though. What are you doing, Salty? All those damages you've taken?
So the black belt actually gets 5 hits with Mazmune at level 26. So if that's sort of the target goal, sort of get both the other mage to maybe 30, the black belt to 26, and then your primary black belt to 42, he should be able to get it, if not get very close to it, by the time he makes Temple of Fiends.
Salty Fries says the ribbon is enough. He has seen enough of that marsh cave. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Yeah, totally don't blame him. One of the worst things that can happen to you during your grind is you run into a 6-pack of wraiths that all hit you with poison.
Looks like Fuchsia might be in Ordeal now. Everybody else I see looks to be in Volcano. A couple of them working on Agama grinds, some exploring for treasures.
So Tristal looks like he's making the next logical play to go to Ice Cave, and this will not take him as long as it did Salty or Minochi, just because enemies like the sorcerers and the frost wolves, the mummies, and the wizards especially are all going to run away from that black belt.
The other interesting thing is what we know, and that is with no progression item in Volcano or Ice Cave or Ordeal, that pretty much means that the Earth Cave might be stacked, Sea Shrine might be stacked. Those are the only places we know we could get to now.
Yeah, and I think if you are one of the runners who did early Earth and found the floater, your best move probably is to clear out Volcano and get some levels. Maybe not do an entire grind, but get enough levels where you feel like that Sea Shrine is a lot safer. Because lobsters hitting a relatively unarmored black belt can be pretty rough.
So right now it looks like as far as runners without the floaters so far go, Tristal's been able to make the most ground. He's gotten through his black belt grind, that's safe. He shouldn't have too much trouble with this ice cave considering what he has. As far as people with the floater go, I'm not sure what to make of it yet until we see any of them get out of Volcano. Because they may have the item, but they don't have the levels yet.
The thing is, I think anybody that goes into Volcano and is well versed with black belt grinding strats should be able to make it out of Volcano with the grind complete. Just having the Masmi in there, that means you can do that grind at even like level 14, 13, just because of the damage output of the weapon.
Well, you can call me paranoid. I just remember watching. In fact, I was commentating on a race where we saw one of the nightmares where somebody had a level 40 black belt, and all of a sudden there was a Stone Touch Red Giant.
Yeah, and that certainly can happen, but just from the fights that we've seen so far, I think the only enemy pack that I haven't seen on the way down is the bulls. So if the bulls just happen to have Stone Touch and they don't run away from a level 30 plus black belt, then I think that's really the only possible way this grind could fail.
Quicklit has picked up the Oxyale, so we could potentially see our first runner going to Sea Shrine before long.
And if Quicklit is
Fuchsia
going with...
is in the Earth Cave now.
Oh, so that's interesting. Fuchsia should find that floater relatively soon. Do you know if Quicklit did a grind or is just picking up levels along the way?
I'm not really sure. Quicklit was one of those that had the airship already. I think he did go to Volcano, though. He's got an orb, and that has to be Volcano, so yeah, he should be pretty good. Unfortunately, distance from the screen and size of the multi, I can't read the level number.
That's fair, but if he did if he did go through, he's either both of the characters are high enough level, or one of them was solo grinded. So either way, Quicklit's in good shape to go to Sea Shrine.
Which, from what we now know, Your either slab or crown has to be in either Sea Shrine or Earth Cave. Crown could still be locked behind the slab, but one of them has to be in either Sea Shrine or Earth.
And if you've already done your grind, there's really no reason that you can't do Earth whenever. Just that since you've already checked out the first floor worth of chests, the chances are mathematically lower that any progression item ends up there. So Sea Shrine plus Waterfall is still a better numbers play, and there, of course, Mirage Tower and Sky, the best numbers play.
I will say this on the other side, especially if you have that high-level black belt, most of the stuff in the Earth Cave is going to run away from you, so you should actually be able to check it faster than anywhere else. It's just so spread out that it's annoying and we all don't like doing it.
It's the third floor is really the worst offender of that, and there's like one or two chests that just require you to take way too many steps to get to.
So Tristal has come up empty with the Ice Cave. He's already been to Ordeal. He's not been to Marsh yet, but I have to assume he's gonna go... I shouldn't assume anything. I would place the odds as favorable of him going to Earth Cave next.
He has 16 chests that are accessible in Earth and 10 in Marsh. If he's playing strictly by numbers, he should go to Earth. The only question is whether he feels like going into Earth feels bad enough that he'll actually full clear a dungeon with less chests first.
Although the other thing about going Marsh is you know you're not full clearing it because you don't have the key yet. So at this point you know you're looking at a double dip dungeon either way.
I guess how I should caveat that is you're full clearing it with respect to all of the other runners. You haven't found Crown yet, and you've covered nearly all of the possible chests. So you probably figure that if there is a progression item in the bottom 3 chests in Marsh, that is the last place that any of the runners are going to look.
It's like Fuchsia is on his way to Waterfall / Onrak area.
Alright, so it looks like Minochi and Salty are very well deep into the Agama grind. Broadster clears out Marsh Cave, doesn't find anything.
Alright, so we're gonna bring Fuchsia in here in a few moments. He's covering new ground for us and seems to be the furthest along of our runners. Tristal working on the Marsh Cave. And like Earth Cave, this has the advantage where most things should be running from you, so it should go pretty quickly. Of course, some zombies have to be complicated and not run away from a black belt who could end them just by staring at them the wrong way. Alright, this is now Fuchsia in the bottom right. He has already picked up the fire orb, he's picked up the bottle, and he is working on the cube now. Quicklit is also in the sea shrine now. And how long is it going to take Tristal to get to that floater? One of the things Tristal does so well is he is just so efficient in working his way through a dungeon that even when he picks up an extra dungeon, he just doesn't lose a lot of time because he gets through them pretty optimally.
The thing with the black belt grind is if you're not planning on picking up a number of levels along the way, you just run from a lot of fights. So you're not taking any of these fights. Your inputs are fairly quick, and you don't have to think about them at all. So it's basically the question with the black belt grind and whether it's successful versus fighter-based strategy is the time that you invest in the grind up front. Can you recover that on the way back? And this is just one of the reasons that Tristal is so successful with it. He can recover a ton of time as he goes through the game.
Alright, so we're about to see if the waterfall is hiding one of our items. And Tristal just resets out of the marsh cave, no surprise.
Not even gonna warp out with that mage staff. Oh well.
I'd say less significant to his levels. I can kind of understand that.
Fuchsia runs into a very, very good pack on this trap tile. The diversity of the monsters on this trap tile means that it's usually not good for grinding, but this is about as ideal as it gets. If you can get 5 whiz mummies and the rest mummies, that's an absolute ton of experience to pick up.
It's like Broadster is going to pick up the rod. Proximity would suggest going to Earth Cave from here. Dragon armor, that'd go great on your knight that you don't have and won't.
I mean, you have 2 black belts. They can just carry the armor, right?
Maybe they can throw it at something. Oh, Minochi, wrong track. He is headed toward... I have no idea what he's headed towards. Okay, now he's going to Ordeal.
Yeah, he was just running off encounters. It's pulling the old salty fry juke.
So I think right now what we're looking at is there going to be something in Sea Shrine that pays off? Or is it going to be an Earth Cave move? And I didn't see what caused Fuchsia to leave Sea Shrine. Was there something ugly I missed? Try and help me out if you saw something.
No, I didn't notice anything either.
Or am I wrong that he didn't get the Oxyel yet? I could be wrong about that. Tristal gets his floater now. Between the dungeons, I would expect to be able to finish Earth Cave faster, so there is that logic. Because after all, it's not just about how many treasure chests a place has, it's how fast can you check them.
Well, Earth is one of those dungeons that you have to do anyway. Uh, but if you're able to save maybe 3 or 4 encounters by not going to some of the far-flung treasure chest rooms on floor 3 and 4, that can save quite a bit of time. So I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of the runners elect to save Earth for last, is just moving through the dungeon, you can save quite a bit of time. Sea Shrine feels like you get stuck with a fair amount of encounters anyway. So even though you run into a lot of unrunnables in Sea Shrine, everyone else does as well. So it's not that much of a time hit.
Quicklet is back into Sea Shrine. Looks like he's going to the mermaid side right now. So I'm going to keep an eye on that for a bit here and see if we have anything pop up.
Yeah, a play going straight to mermaids when you're going through Sea Shrine, I support that, especially if you need both crown and slab still. If you're looking for multiple progression items, just go to the side with the most chests.
This is actually at least his second dive in. He's already been in here. So he may have gotten cracking while I was looking at other things. There's a lot of racers going on, especially when we're trying to keep track of the ones who aren't even on stream.
So Fuchsia finds Thorhammer and White Shirt, both guarded by the Earth Elemental. And I think Fuchsia's going to continue this dive, so we're going to get a good look at what is in the rest of the chests.
Did he pick up the rod? He has the floater. I would assume he picked up the rod. Now
sure
Tristel's going to do class change. This actually surprises me. I think it's a little earlier. A white shirt could pay off, especially if it's if the go mode items are actually in Sea Shrine. Then finding the white shirt here could pay dividends in a tough Temple of Fiends. So far, the biggest item I've seen in Sea Shrine is the Bane Sword. Quicklit does have 2 orbs right now, which might actually make him our leader at the moment.
So Earthcape was. Of course, it's here.
Not opting to warp out, so I don't think he checked all the treasures on the floor below the mermaids.
Last one.
And if there is an item here, Quicklet's running out of places it could be. Salty Fry, meanwhile, in Ordeal. Len the Cat has picked up the cube. So a race to find whatever our next progression item is, be it the slab or crown. I think Quicklit is down to one more room of treasure here. Have to take a pass on the crown locked room, of course.
You never know if something good could be hiding in there. Usually isn't, but you never know. Hey, there's a floater for Minochi. And he's probably, deep sigh again, floater in Earth Cave.
We have a second ribbon in the Marsh Cave.
Is it Crown Lock?
I'm sorry, not Marsh Cave. Sea Shrine.
Oh, okay. Was that Mermaid side?
That was Mermaid side. It was the floor before Mermaids.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't see an item. His screen's going so fast. If Quicklit didn't pick anything up out of this sea shrine, then that would mean it has to be an Earth. And the full dive here, Fuchsia. But I haven't gotten a good look at his inventory yet to be sure of this. Rodster's going to give us a look at things, though.
So this may pay off pretty big for Fuchsia if it turns out either slab or crown is down here.
Okay, so even without the inventory, I'm now pretty confident that it is, because Quicklit has come to the Earth Cave, and the only reason to do that is if you know. And there it is, slab for Fuchsia.
Ooh, and this is interesting, because if Fuchsia decides to go, skip the slab, translating the slab, and go straight to C, he's going to come up with a whole lot of nothing.
Considering he already got the cube, I can't think of any reason I would go to the sea before I would go to sky. I'd have to be really sure something was there, because personally I feel more confident in my routing there, first of all, and second of all, everything's worth more experience, so I'd rather be exploring there.
The only reason I could see is maybe you're not confident in the equipment that you currently have available. Lit 3, lots of Lit 3 charges certainly feels a lot nicer in Sea Shrine than it does in Sky. But if you're going to do a two-person party and pick up levels along the way, then fighting everything as you go through Sky and just burning through 99 heal potions is the way to go.
Would you care to guess what Minochi is doing right now? Well, apparently he doesn't have all the treasure.
He might have skipped some of those chests. I certainly don't blame him for not wanting to crack open that chest that takes a long time to get to.
Well, so far it looks like the right play of this seed was take the floater to get the rod, and then full clear Earth. Just don't forget to translate that slab before you go trying to go to parts unknown.
So that's very, very interesting the way the logic of the seed turned out. Forced double dip into Earth, and then you have to full clear sky. Or at least clear sky up until you find your progression item. I mean, it very well could be a mirage.
Yeah, it could be in one of the big treasure hoards in the first 2 floors. I don't know the percentage is, but those are a nice collection of treasure chests on those 2 floors.
And the other benefit for Fuchsia, if he does choose to go to Mirage, is only 2 of the ribbons have been found so far, so it's very likely that he finds the 3rd in Sky.
He would only have 1 right now, because he hasn't done the mermaid side of sea. Lich with Blaze. And Lich is down. Fuchsia picks up his 2nd orb. No! Translate the slab! Don't forget to translate the slab!
I go shopping first.
I wouldn't even risk that. That relies on me to remember something for more than 5 seconds.
Oh, I know how that goes.
I don't trust myself that much.
Yeah, I don't either. That's why I end up, next to a creek without a canoe.
Alright, now Fuchsia's gonna translate the slab. And the world is completely open to him. Does he go to Sea Shrine? Does he go to Sky Castle?
No,
Just make sure you get the chime first.
He should go to an inn first, because that poor Dan in the front row has 1 health.
I mean details. Guy has a perfectly fine inn. You could buy pro rings too, that's an option. Minochi gets the Oxio from the ferry. And he might be going to Sea Shrine. Hard to fault anybody for making that play. You got the 1 item out of Earth and figure most of the time that's it.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. And again, just going by numbers, you've already cleared 5 of the 24 chests that are in Earth, and 19 chests versus the 30 plus in Sea, and it's really a no-brainer as to what to do. Unfortunately, it's just not going to work out in this case.
By the way, here we are an hour in, so let's take a moment and express some gratitude. First of all, for Randomania for hosting the race today. J.K. Allen doing the race streaming duties for us. We greatly appreciate that. And we have a new tracker today. Dude. Something to that effect. Anyways, those of you who have watched a lot of Z1 Rando have probably heard his name plenty before, and he has joined us here today to do the tracking for this. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you to Dude and J.K. Allen, and picking up this race. It was pretty short notice, so a lot of thanks to the Randomania crew, and thank you, Trenton, for also being available to do the commentary today.
I was just in the middle of a randomizer run when it came up. Nothing important.
I have to put off this randomizer run to talk about a randomizer run.
Sure. I mean, if Final Fantasy IV wants to make me do the Slith Cave, I can do Final Fantasy I instead. I'll show it. Alright, so Minochi is landing next to Anrak. He doesn't have the cube yet, so going to Waterfall makes a lot of sense. And then Sea Shrine while you're here, because proximity. Vice versa that, I just don't like to. One, it relies on me remembering that I didn't get the cube yet. And the other thing it does is, if I find one of the progression items in the waterfall, that's going to force me to go Kraken side first, which is what I'll always do when I only need one item, so it could potentially save me extra time. Fuchsia's going to pick up the chime.
Oh, Minochi finds level 7 fast. That can't be learned. So that's out of the window. Temper only, folks.
Boy, I'd always rather have fast. Even if I'm the only one in the world, I'd rather have fast, because at least I know Power Gauntlet is out there somewhere.
Well, this seems to be one of those seeds where you look at it and have no access to Life 2. Haven't seen Life 1 yet. Don't have Fast. Only have Temper. Don't have Defense Sword either. This is looking a lot like, you know, go up to 42 and try to close out those Fiend fights as fast as you can.
Yeah, it actually makes me wonder if some of our runners didn't class change too soon. I don't know if we saw any spells that they picked up.
Okay, so life was in Gaia. Not sure if that was learnable by Red Wizard.
With the bottle, wasn't the bottle in Onrak?
Oh, if it's in...
If it's on Onrak, you can learn that first white magic spell.
Oh, no, the bottle was for sale. It was Lazy Pirates in Gaia. So we had Lazy Dwarves and Lazy Pirates this seed.
Alrighty. Hey, there's a lot to try and keep up with. Hey, and Catman have Thunder, by the way.
Yikes.
It's actually not the worst. That would actually make me pretty happy to get that piece of information, because I'm not seeing them anywhere else. What always scares me is to see a high damage ability from an unrunnable that's going to be in Temple of Fiends Revisited. I guess Nuke was learnable with class change. It's just... I have my way of thinking, and runners better than me have a different way of thinking. I'll put it that way.
So I think if you're at the point where you have 2 ribbons, then you're pretty safe when it comes to taking the hit on magic resistance. The only thing that really you get burned on is Nuke. And
looks like Quicklit is our first runner into Mirage.
Alright, so this could be where we find out how loaded Mirage was, because we haven't seen defense, we haven't seen Power Gauntlet, and there should be a ribbon and the last progression item up there as well.
He is working on the first floor, and so, of course, right at this very second as he's checking treasure chests, I've got lag and can't see what he's getting.
Of course, right on time. And I didn't get a chance to see if Life 2 was learnable. Oh, it was. Okay, so you might be safer with lower level Black Belt at this point, with Nuke available and Life 2. If your Black Belt gets crunched, you may have a contingency plan of just throwing Nuke at a boss until it dies. And MTI noting the bulk of the Black Belt. Certainly, each one of those levels you got in the Agama grind were not MTI levels.
I always thought they reminded me of Guile from Street Fighter. Really, other than the hair. It's like they took his hair and gave it to the black wizards, and they gave his body and gave that to the black belts. In between those, you really have Guile, though.
And it looks like we might be getting another runner in at the moment.
Yeah, we're going to get Quicklet in here, who is in Mirage Tower, about to go to Sky Castle. Again, not quite sure what he's found yet, but he now seems to be the furthest along of any of our runners. Sforzando is working on clearing Earth Caves, so is Len the Cat. Brodster as well. It seems like the way this is played, there is the crown for Fuchsia in the first floor of Sky Castle.
So that's it. He is off to the races unless he wants to take a peek for that last ribbon.
Not sure if he has one or if he has two. But when you can go mode this and potentially go mode Sea Shrine, if that's the... I've lost track at this point who's done what. But anytime you can go mode one of these dungeons, they're going to go much faster. That should also mean Quicklet is in go mode because he definitely was in the crown area as well. So here comes our first chance to see Warmax soon. If you want to think of such hideous and evil things.
Well, bless RNG, everyone.
I'm trying to think through again what the right path in this seed was. So it was Lazy Dwarfs to get TNT. Once you had the TNT, you needed to go to the first floor of Earth Cave to get the floater. You go to Crescent Lake, you get the canoe, and get yourself an airship. You take that airship back to get the rod, so that you go down into the depths of the Earth Cave to find the slab. Then you have to go get the cube. Take the cube back to Mirage Tower so that you can go through here to get the crown. So, is that what, 2, 3 double dips minimum?
And don't forget, you actually have to get the grind going at some point in here. So it almost required you to go to Volcano, get Mazmune, and fight the Agamas as well.
I mean, this is one that was out there, and it's lends itself to runners doing everything under the sun.
Yeah, and this is one of those where it really depends on your style of routing. If you're not a fan of clearing Earth, if you're doing plays just by the numbers, this seed is just going to outright burn you. Anytime there's one progression item in Earth, it usually ends up messing up quite a few of the runners, let alone 2 in a required double dip.
Yeah, required double dips all over the place in this one, because I even count going Waterfall getting Cube as a double dip because of its proximity to Sea Shrine. If you think of it as an extension to that, then it was 3/4 double dips in this seed. So good luck figuring that one out from scratch. And then it becomes how efficiently can you do everything. Slab now for Brodster. Looks like the blue dragon's not too tough if you wanted to grab an extra level or two here. Although with Sky Castle, I think I'll just take my chances that I get into a couple eye fights. Fuchsia does like the blue dragons, though.
And looks like Quicklet ran into a bunch of slimes, and if he feels he needs any experience, this is a pretty good fight to take.
One thing about this blue dragon fight is you can do it. You can do it without any other encounters because of that door being alongside the wall. Walking right or left, you won't get an encounter, and then in front of the door you'll get the blue dragon again. So you'll get no random encounters there if you want to pick up levels on him.
Plus, it's always fun to just walk in and out of the door as well.
You can do that too. I just wonder if there isn't lag doing that because of the graphics.
Oh yeah, no, it's clearly better to do it the other way. But
translated slab for Brodster, and a dude doing an admirable job of trying to catch up the tracker. It's a lot harder when you bring a runner in who we haven't been watching and don't have all the information on.
it looks
So
like
certain of it has to be assumptions, but this looks to be his last orb. He's already got 3.
Yeah, so Quicklet will be wrapping this up pretty soon.
Unfortunately, looks like that is a connection issue on his end that's causing some difficulties, but he does seem to be the furthest along of our runners, so we do want to kind of keep track of where things are. Right now it looks like most people are in the Earth Cave and Bismarck is in the Sea Shrine. As far as our non-featured runners right now go, Quicklet has got orb number 4 and needs to do the Crown Fetch quest to get the Mystic Key before going back to the past. That's a biggie, don't want to forget it. Which we have in fact seen happen in this tournament. Or not tournament, in this league. Whatever I'm trying to say. Edge, I'm trying to say too much. Say something. Give me a break.
Something. So anyway, looks like Fuchsia's going to punch out this Gray Naga, and again, it's one of the nice things about Sky Castle is if you're going to level up along the way, this is a fantastic place to do it.
Many of these things, with a full party, anytime you're talking 2 encounters here, you're probably talking 1,000 experience for a full party member. So something in the range of 4,000 experience for almost any multiple encounter here. When you compare that to, say, 1,000 experience for the Agama, you start to understand what I'm talking about with the experience rate here being better.
It's one of the things you have to consider as well is the time it takes for the encounter to draw itself and for you to put your inputs in are a sunk cost. So if your goal is to gain levels as you go along the way, then it's likely to be a lot more efficient than an Agama grind or a I grind for multiple characters, because you've already invested the time in taking this fight. So, I mean, if it takes you 5 seconds to run away from the fight, that's 5 seconds that you're not getting back. But if it takes you maybe 10 seconds to fight an Agama, but 15 seconds to fight an enemy that gives you 70% more experience than an Agama, or an enemy group, then yeah, it's a lot more efficient. And where you really see that separation is in Sky.
A question in chat. What is Fuchsia looking for? I gotta figure it's a ribbon.
Yeah, it's got to be
Or
the
Power
last ribbon.
Gauntlet.
Power Gauntlet or Defense Sword would also be acceptable. But at this point, they're probably in that middle ring that no one is going to check.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of the treasure in this game, aside from the key-locked treasures. And Quicklet is our first runner back into the past. He's in Temple of Fiends Revisited, and he reset. Did he not finish the key quest, maybe?
It's either that or he wants to buy potions. Both reasons why I would immediately leave after getting ready to go in.
Yeah, it'd be perfectly understandable either way, but that is the Northwest Castle, so yeah, he didn't finish the quest yet. Alright, well that was a good place to remember. I don't think he'd even gotten into a fight yet.
No matter how hard you jam that crown into the door, it's not going to unlock.
But a 51 black belt will punch it open, just so you know.
If only. The legendary 51 black belt. You have to fight 18 T-Rexes in a row. So, for those of you who are just joining us, recap of what has been a very, very immensely enjoyable seed so far. We had Floater in Floor 1 of Earth, the Slab in the basement of Earth, Rod Blocked, and then we had the Crown in Sky, Mazmune in Volcano. So all the good stuff was waiting to be found, but you had to do a forced double dip, and nobody's found the ruby yet. So there's no real way around that forced double dip either.
I think it was in Sky. I remember seeing it, but we already had the rod at that point, so it wasn't noteworthy. Remember when I said a ridiculous thing like we weren't going to see Catman again? I don't know what I was thinking. So now, with the Mystic Key, Quicklet on pace to go to the past. Tristal, I think, has 2 ribbons already, so I imagine with Crown, he's going to true go mode this and not check anything. And then it becomes a question, is Quicklet going to be strong enough to get through these fights? Because if he is, this is his race to win now. First in Temple of Fiends, he's here at, let's call it 131. And how long is it going to take the second runner to get here? Len the Cat is about to pick up his crown in Mirage Tower.
So we'll get to see just about how nasty this Temple of Fiends is. With Bratster and Quicklet getting ready to head there shortly. Just have about one more dungeon to clear out.
Wow. It looks like we're a little farther behind than we thought, because apparently Quicklet just finished. So, GG Quicklet.
All right. Well, I'm sure we can get caught up, but yeah, congratulations to Quicklet, and we'll see if we can get him in for an interview here.
Question about hearing airship music. Our audio is actually coming from an off-stream runner right now, and technically no rule against that.
Yeah, so we had audio coming from an off-stream runner, so we decided to put on a music playlist, but apparently the music playlist is extended airship music.
So, a remarkable chain to get through this. I was about to question his use of the two-man strats, but apparently this Temple of Fiends is cooperative to it. And first couple floors were very friendly. As Tristal gets his orb, that is orb number 4 for Tristal. So he's going to be in good shape to get to Temple of Fiends. Minochi has decided enough is enough for today. Last I saw, he was in Sea Shrine, so maybe just decided it was going to be too long to get there. Lendicat is doing the Mystic Key quest, as is Tristal. And Bratster soon to face Kraken, as Fuchsia is facing Kraken. Zar's in this too, by the way. I haven't had a chance to mention his name much, but he is working in the Sea Shrine. Len is about to go into Temple of Fiends Revisited.
I figure with 2 progression items on Earth that this would be a seed that Zar finishes in like 120, but there's always RNG.
Yeah, I was curious what the split was going to be between Quicklet's entry and the next place runners. Unfortunately, now I don't know. It's at least 5 minutes on stream, but obviously Quicklet got in here sooner. He was done at 1:33. So I don't even have a way to work out that how long that was. GG Quicklet, did you split entry to Temple of Fiends? Can you tell us what time you went in?
I didn't do a split, no. I mean, I can still see on my my video preview on Twitch, it was around 124, 125.
Okay, I was curious the gap that meant, and that means it's something like a 12-minute gap. So, GG getting to Temple of Fiends before anybody else was able to. I think I counted 3 double dips if we include Waterfall with Sea Shrine.
I mean, I never had to double dip Sea Shrine. I never had to double dip anywhere. Are you talking about the people that were on stream?
Could have been. I was just thinking Earth Cave was a forced double dip. You had to get the crown.
Right, yeah.
You had to get the slab from after you got the floater. You had to get the cube to go to Sky Castle to get the crown.
But the crown wasn't hiding anything. I actually forgot to get the crown when I first went into Topher. And I got to like the 3rd floor and hadn't actually run into anything, and then realized I hadn't done the crown quest yet. So I mean, it only cost me about 30 seconds.
On stream, you just punched Carrie to death.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see it. I don't want to, I guess, spoil anything.
Well, we already have the biggest spoiler. Did you feel any kind of risk in bringing the 2 men?
I've done that every one of these races so far. I mean, I can see bringing 3, and I considered reviving one of them, just maybe to use the heal helmet or something like that, because I was worried about running out of heal potions, because a lot of stuff was actually hitting pretty hard. But I just figured it was going to die pretty quickly anyway, and I wouldn't get a whole lot of use out of it, so I just left everything else dead. But yeah, I got super lucky. I mean, I picked the right place every time. I went Earth before anything else and found the floater right away and figured it wasn't worth going any deeper, so I went to... I turned in the floater and went to Volcano and found the easiest grind in the world.
What did you grind?
The Agamas. They hit for next to nothing. They were hitting me for about 10, I think, without any armor on, and they had about 200 HP.
And Masamune helped that as well.
Oh yeah, and the Masamune was in Volcano, so that was great.
Yeah.
And we had already found the opal in Temple of Fiends, so yeah, you were pretty much set. There was a pro ring, I think, in there as well, pretty early on.
So we didn't see a lot of the particularly nasty skills. Mancats had thunder. Anything else stick out to you?
I was honest, while I was going through Earth, I thought about the fact that just about anything I was running into could have something terrible, and it didn't really matter because everything was running away anyway. Because I was 42 by the time I did Earth. But I don't think I saw anything really, really bad. Even none of the Fiends had anything particularly nasty.
Now that I think about it, there was also, we saw in Ice Cave, one of the undeads had damage poison, so that'd be the only other thing we saw.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the things I was worried about most was in Sea Shrine. The ghosts hit really, really hard, and I didn't have any great way of wiping them out. They had enough HP that I couldn't just nuke them down.
Some quick updates. Brodster's just entered Temple of Fiends, and Len is on the fire floor. Just some quick updates for our off-stream runners. Kraken here. And couldn't have taken 2 shots from him. One was all you had, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, he hit me... I think he hit me twice. After the first time I got an Invis 2 off with a white shirt. I probably should have left the white shirt, or the pro cape on my red mate, or my red wizard. Because he had Invis 2, and I never once cast nuke, so that whole spell slot was open, but oh well.
Crystal on the water floor looks to be the furthest along of everyone at this point, which is remarkable because I do believe he's full cleared the game. I mean, he's done everything except to check every single last treasure chest.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty good when I went into Topher because I didn't go to Ice Cave at all. I never went to Ordeals. I figured since I hadn't found the slab yet that I would just full clear Earth because I had to do Earth anyway and found the slab down there. So, and once I found that, I just figured I might as well go to Mirage because I have to do that anyway. And lo and behold, the crown was in the first floor.
Did you have 2 ribbons at the end, or did you find a third one at any point?
I only had one.
Or did you?
I didn't have one on my black belt. Yeah.
We saw one was in C, and I'm guessing that's the one you didn't get.
I'm pretty sure I got the one in C.
Okay.
Because I full cleared Sea Shrine. I don't know where the other ones were. Yeah. Yeah, I did
the other one was Ice
the
Cave.
mermaids as well,
Got
because
it.
I didn't have anything yet. Oh, Ice Cave, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't touch Ice Cave.
Now the chaos fight. Oh, what was your black belt at this point? 48, 49?
This is fly.
I know I saw 47 earlier, so I figured you'd got another.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Could have been. I was actually having a conversation with my mother through the entirety of Topher. Kind of. She was talking to me and trying to like run through this thing, but I mean, I'm really glad that the fiends were pretty easy.
All right. Well, any thoughts about this stage in the league? Have you enjoyed it? Are you going to do more of it?
I will when I have time. I mean, I haven't much in this round as I have in the previous, but yeah, whenever I happen to be around and there's a race running, I definitely want to join in.
All right. Any final thoughts you want to share?
Not really. I mean, this is probably the most straight round, just because everyone is going to do the exact same thing every single time, pretty much. Like you absolutely have to grind a black belt up if you want a chance of winning in a reasonable amount of time. Unless everything just happens to be paper, and the chances of that happening are super slim. So, yeah, I like this round because we finally get to kill Chaos again, but I won't be too sad to see it go either.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. And again, GG, and we'll look forward to more in the future as your chaos slowly fades away. Once again, Quicklet was our winner today. First place time was 1:33.25 according to SRL. Couple runners on the water floor. Looks like a lot of unrunnable encounters. We saw several waters up as Fuchsia fights through more of them now.
And I wonder if hitting the trying to do the power cycle before entering got you a bunch of unrunnables on this floor.
Looks
Yeah,
like
I
we'll
didn't
end
do a power cycle. Go ahead.
Kraken has nuclear. What a jerk. So Tristal and Bratz are very close to one another. Likely going to just come down to turn order on this. Brodster catching up because of the fewer inputs with only 2 people in his party.
Every little thing can make a difference. So we didn't see much that was scary.
He's into the fight faster.
Well, there you go. And the way we've seen, this can make a difference.
And we're going to bring in another runner right now. And And that's it. Broadster manages to sneak ahead of Tristal just on the efficiency of those inputs.
How about that? About 30 seconds of difference between the two of them. I mean, 27 seconds, but close enough. That is the ultimate snipe. And I thought Len was going to be our next place finisher. The only thing I can figure at this point is he somehow took a wipe to Tiamat. So I wonder if Tiamat had something we didn't see otherwise. Be very curious to find out about that.
Does he have stun touch? Is that what just happened on Fuchsia's stream?
You missed it if that was the case, but even stun touch shouldn't have forced a reset that late.
Well, he hit pretty hard if he stun touched the black belt. I mean, it's possible that he could have killed him before he got back up.
That would make sense.
Yeah, it the 5/4 bonus to damage off of paralysis plus the complete elimination of evade makes a pretty big difference. Looks like we're getting Czar in here right now.
Alright, Fuchsia's about to get to the Chaos fight. It's kind of amazing. If somebody hadn't just spoiled the whole show and run away with it, this would have been a really close battle.
I apologize for nothing.
Look at this guy trying to win a race. And then GG to Tristal.
And Broadster as well. Brot, you won that on menuing time. You pulled that snipe off. You menued faster than Tristal.
Well, that's
Which is crazy.
That's a pretty good compliment there.
Yeah, it was in that last run down to Chaos. You ended up having to only heal one character, whereas he had all four of his characters up. So just the input time alone was what did it.
That's great. So practice the menuing there, guys. How about water? Like, the ghosts were just brutal.
Yeah, C gave people a lot of trouble if they ran into a lot of ghost fights. Just no real efficient way to burn them down.
And I think they hit me for like 300, like my red mage when I was in there the first time. Quick, you must have went to Earth first, eh?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found the floater right away. It was. I mean, I picked everything right.
Yeah. I went to go and check Earth, and then I realized I had like no heal potions, so I had to go to Elfland, and then I decided to go to Marsh while I was there, which was obviously the wrong decision.
Yeah, I never touched Marsh, Ice, or Ordeals.
I didn't go to Ice or Ordeals. The Agamemnons were friendly, so did that right away.
I was about to say, if Crystal's mic is working the first time he comes in here, that'd be the first time I've ever seen it.
GG Tristal.
Yep, GG. Well done, Quicklet.
Thank you. GG.
So this one ended up being a little tough to find the right route, Crystal.
Yeah, I'm glad in the last place. There was actually the last place I looked to, so not a whole lot I can do about it.
And then it was interesting to us on the VOD that Brot, with only the two people and one person to heal, the menuing time ended up causing the snipe at the end.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I wanted some backup just in case later on, but maybe I didn't need to with Life 2.
Oh, look at that vampire on Czar's screen.
Czar likes to play with the palette shuffle options on, so you get some interesting combinations.
There was a vampire there? I didn't even notice.
Oh, you had to not blink. Brock, can you kind of give us a quick overview of what your route was through this one?
What mine was? Well, I hate playing with black belts, and so I don't know. I just kind of went back to what I was used to when we had to play them before. I just wanted to get the Volcano as quickly as I could. I don't think I'll ever neck march before Door Cave, just because of the time you can save TNT is with the doors. So after going Elfland, I went up there. Then, like I said, Egemas were super friendly, so just power level there, and then one second.
We're trying to get Brat's volume boosted a little bit here, so hopefully we can hear more of his wonderful words that he's sharing. Let's do it. We've got Czar working his way through the Earth Cave. Len trying to get some revenge against Kraken 2.
How's this?
And there's Fuchsia.
Hi.
How you doing after that one?
I was all over the place.
Out of curiosity, did any of you see Nuclear on Kraken?
I did.
No, I didn't.
I did
And
not.
apparently Len has Power Gauntlet. I can only assume that was key locked somewhere.
I never checked Crown Chest.
Is that any better?
Oh, that's much better.
Okay. Found the problem.
Good deal.
Yeah, so I saw Nuclear on Kraken. I also saw Nuke on the Cerberus, which was very scary.
Oh, that's
yikes.
interesting.
So I ended up, after seeing Nuke on them, I survived, but I think I encountered them 2 more times, and I definitely had to try and blow the water. I was just terrified of that Nuke.
Yeah, that could be really unpleasant, especially in the wrong formation. It looks like Lynn is about to get back to Piedmont. He got here earlier, but something went wrong that we didn't see. Question from Fuchsia. Did anybody find a ribbon? We actually found 2 of them. One was in Sea Shrine, one was in Ice Cave. And the other ice was crown locked somewhere. That's really the only thing we didn't see was all the crown chests.
Yeah, just second up, eh?
Sorry, what was that?
You sound like a robot underwater.
Oh, apparently that's Discord being Discord tonight.
Now it's better.
Yeah, it's where it wasn't saying anything. Everyone had sounded like it, so I wasn't sure it was either me or Discord. So I figured better not to pollute the stream.
So what I was attempting to say is we didn't see the crown-locked chests. That's not the only thing we didn't see. We found 2 of the ribbons. One was in sea, one was in ice. And Len is looking for revenge against Kraken, although he can't get there at the moment for some reason against these airs. We're just apparently cooperative.
Yeah, so sound is pretty rough on Discord again. We'll try to get things straightened out.
I think Discord is trying to tell us something. I'm just not sure what that something is. But let's see if we can get through this run from Lynn, and hopefully he's able to finish out. Is he trying to tank a black belt for some reason?
That's bizarre.
Unless he's out of heal potions and wants to get him.
Oh, he wants to life to him.
Life to him, yeah.
Okay, that'd be creative. I'll go for that. Well, 47 on a black belt. Life 2 is the best healing spell in the game. And here comes the amount. Going for the power gauntlet. He's also got Monster Immune handy, but I don't know what level the Monster Immune wielder is. Opted to use Nuke on this fight, or did he cancel out of that?
He definitely went for Nuke, but he's probably not going to actually cast it. Yeah.
There you go, he got his revenge. This is the fight that caused him to reset out of Temple of Fiends before. He was in very good position at one point, but had to redo the entire dungeon. There's that ruby. It was in Sky House all along. Near the crown.
Oh yeah, the first floor had adamant, crown, and ruby.
And here's Chaos. So we haven't seen anything too crazy out of this Chaos. Then is taking it up. But hopefully he'll just start punching it at some point here.
Yeah, I think he probably is just going to zip through this with one hit.
You might. I think his levels are too low to tell from that Masamune what he's able to do, but hitting it 7 times should tell you, so this round he should just punch it. There he goes. And that's GG for Len, 5th place at 202.16. Len, our 5th place finisher. We'll get him in here for some words. For those of you here, any final thoughts?
No.
All right, we're going to get some quick words with Len here, hopefully, and then we'll host up Czar as he finishes out his run. Len, GG. First question I'm very curious about is what happened the first time around with Tiamat 2? Well, that didn't work. And Sforzando has just finished in 6th place. Apparently my multi-screen was further behind than I thought it was. Do we have Len now? Apparently not. Well, Edge, any final thoughts from you?
No, this was a pretty interesting race with a forced double dip, and you can definitely see how nearly every player employed the same strategy. Grind up a black belt, and just the differences alone were in routing and execution. So this is going to be a pretty interesting round going forward.
All right, well, I hope everybody shows a lot of support to all the runners. We'll host up SAR here shortly. And again, say thank you to Randomania, to JK Allen, our restreamer, and to the dude doing that great job tonight on the tracking. Big job when you got the people coming in and out. We appreciate you all. Thanks to all of you who watched, and hope you have a great night.